with 40 pounds sucks, by the way.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. 30 pounds is a pain, but 40 pounds is like, dude, this is sucking. It's like Beavis and Butthead. This sucks like nothing has ever sucked before. So there you go.
Is that cartoon still on?
I'm sure it's on somewhere in syndication somewhere.
Gotcha. So we're live at the Jim and Stu show.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
And let's see over here at jimandstewshow.com. I was telling Stu I was late this morning because I was finishing up my workout. What's up, everybody? Glad you're here.
Playing around
over here on the website, VJ's here, Bob's here, which is cool. All right. Good morning, Carlin. Those were Carlin. Dude, did you see the pictures that Carlin posted from the Grand Canyon? Did you see him rappelling down? That had to have been like a 200, 300 foot cliff he was doing his thing on. That's impressive, man. What's up, Vicky? What's up, Bill? Namita. See, Stu would be doing it Australian, though, with an MP5 in his left hand.
I like to rappel. Rappelling is fun.
I like it too. Yeah. I haven't done it in a while.
Crazy on it, but
Stu's got a knife in his mouth and an MP5 in this hand, and he's like jumping out and breaking with this hand, screaming "Cowabunga," wearing nothing but a Speedo.
Yeah, not that cool.
It's like that meme of the cat with a gold desert eagle on the back of a unicorn with the rainbow shooting out of his butt. That's awesome. So did you have a good July 4th?
I did.
What'd you do?
I did.
Hang out?
Nothing. I hung out at the house, watched some fireworks, cooked some, and I just went with the basic hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was fun. It was perfect. And then we had s'mores.
There you go. Well, we did too. Did anybody in your neighborhood do the illegal? Wow, Namita, her birthday was on July 4th.
That's
happy birthday. That's cool. Did anybody in your neighborhood do illegal fireworks?
I mean, I don't know what's illegal. I mean, they sell them down the street, so I don't know.
Okay, did they have stuff blowing up in the sky and flying up in the air and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
Is that illegal? I don't know what's illegal. I guess state to state it.
Yeah, in Virginia, the stuff, the good stuff is illegal. I mean, like the mortars and the starbursts and the Katyush Russian rocket truck, going. So our neighbors 2 docks over were launching obviously illegal for here fireworks. And so I didn't want to be outdid, as they say down here in the swamps of Virginia. So I got out the flame. I got out the flamethrower.
I did see that. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, that's me on the end of my dock with the flamethrower. So that was giving the kids a thrill, But that one right there was like.
That thing shoots what, about 15, 20 feet almost?
It goes. If you get the wind right, it'll do 30 feet.
Dang.
If you get the wind wrong, it's not far enough. So you definitely do the, let's see which way I don't want to face, just cause. There you go. So anyway, what are we doing today?
Well,
what are we talking about?
It's a good topic. I actually picked it up from the Sales Copywriting Facebook group, Copywriting Content Marketing Facebook group. Hacks. Yeah, so it is a really good question, I thought. Okay. So when sharing free tips, secrets, and strategies, how much do you give away and how much do you put in the offer? I know this is a general question, but I'm just curious if there's some kind of rule or standard, and if you had any suggestions for types of product, services, and upsell options when offering something free.
Holy crap! What is this? What do they want? Everything?
So it's interesting because that's actually a great question. And at some point, if you're doing content marketing, you wrestle with that very thing. You know, am I giving away too much? Am I am I giving away so much that people don't need to buy? And that, especially for, say, a webinar or a presentation or an informational video. I remember one time I was speaking at Big Seminar. I don't remember which one it was, but that was back when Big Seminar was the seminar. That was the internet marketing seminar. And it was the first one I'd ever been to where they had over 1,000 people. And I remember I got up on stage and I spoke for about, Armin would give you a 90-minute slot.
Wow.
And I spoke for 90 minutes and I had hardly any sales. I mean, it was one of those things where you'd teach, then you'd pitch. And I can't even tell you how many people come up to me throughout the rest of the event and tell me your speech was absolutely the best speech. You had the best training of anybody. And as soon as I go home and implement what you taught, then I'll be ready for what you're selling.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, great. And it really made an impression on me because I saw other speakers that sold a whole bunch. And they didn't, in my opinion, they didn't really teach anything. And I'm thinking, man, I'm a better teacher than these guys. I'll sell a whole bunch more than they will. And I didn't. So I started watching what they were doing and I started paying attention to what they were doing and I started studying. And for one person that I would watch was a gentleman named Dan Kennedy. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Stu. He's passed away since, but he's a very, very famous copywriter, great business coach, entrepreneurial coach, really a shark among sharks as far as just business and understanding human psychology and stuff. And the gist of what he said, that this one sentence changed my life. He said, tell them what to do. Sell them how to do it. And what that means is that you can tell everybody all day long about your strategy, about your process, about your overview, about mistakes, about why to do something, all these different things, and they will view that as valuable content. But if you're really going to teach somebody how to do something, you obviously can't do it in a 5-minute video. So what you're better off doing is giving them the strategy, giving them the steps, giving them all that, and then inviting them to the next step, which is to get your complete training, to get your complete framework, get your complete whatever it is that you sell. So let's use an example of copywriting. Let's use an example of headlines. So I could do a video on, I could do a video or a training on the top 10 mistakes people make with headline hooks. I could do a video or a training or an article about why, the top 10 reasons why a headline is so important. I could do a training on one headline. Oh shit. Well, good. Thanks, Christopher. I thought Dan was dead. There you go. What is it? Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I feel bad now. I thought he'd passed away. I know he'd been sick. So anyway, that's good to know. So that's like a shock.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm glad he's still alive.
Good news. Good.
That is good news on a Wednesday. So, what are some other things that I could do? I could talk about specific headlines that I had used and why they worked. I could teach one or two specific headline formulas, like how to benefit without pain and why that works. I could critique other people's headlines. You see what I could, all the different content that I could do, teaching what to do, and teaching why to do it, giving examples, mistakes, anecdotes, all that stuff. Create a ton of content, and then always leading back to the, and if you're interested, I've got a program called Funnel Scripts. I've got my book, the Copywriting Secrets. I've got an entire training on copywriting that you can learn about headlines and so much more. And so that's really the key, is to look at what you've got and then take a step back from it and say, okay, what's all the stuff that I can talk about here without giving away the farm? And when you learn those patterns, you can talk forever, years. You can and never teach what's in your thing, and still have everybody think you're giving away the farm, and it gets them ready for the next step. The key is that the free content that you give away should stimulate desire. It should replace their beliefs that they need to be, do, or have something before they need what you're doing. It should eliminate objections. It should provide a stepping stone. So another thing that you can do is, if you've got something that you sell, and like I have a meeting later on today. I'm meeting with 4 different company owners that are all trying to come together to do a joint venture with another company. And I'm going to ask them all one simple question. In order for everybody to be successful, what's the one thing they got to have done before they can need what's in this what's in this joint venture? So in the one case, the one company sells speaking stuff. And so I want to find out, what is the thing that people need to have done? Do they need to have a speaker one sheet? Do they need to have a speech? Do they even just need to know who their target audience is? That's like with, with copywriting and with funnel scripts. What I realized 3 years ago was the one thing everybody needed before they could use funnel scripts was to know who the heck their ideal customer is. And so once I realized that, that's when we came up with the avatar, and then we programmed the avatar in to work with, now the majority of funnel scripts, all of Traffic Secret scripts, all of Fill My Webinar scripts, a good chunk of the Jim Edwards Method Premium, all those things. That was a big thing. So eliminating that, it's like, now you've got your avatar figured out. Here's all this other stuff that you can use immediately. So if you can remove those obstacles or make that bridge between where they are now and where the product is. I know that was a long answer to that question, but it was kind of a long question, so it deserved a long answer, I guess.
No, it was great. I mean, the most interesting thing, I'm not saying you didn't say anything that was not interesting, but the most interesting you said to me was, tell them what to do, sell them how to do it.
Yep.
That's genius.
The only thing I would add to that quote is tell them what to do and why, and sell them how to do it. That would be the one thing I would add to that, if that makes sense.
No, that's great. Now I've seen the same type of issues come up with my products and services that I sell. I sell a lot of ebooks and books, and also have some premium programs as well. But majority of that money is, income is books and ebooks. So when I write about a certain genre of fitness, however, it's such a diverse group that I can have free programs for beginners, right? And it puts them on a journey. Or I can have a running program that applies to multiple areas that I can give away for free. And that, so it kind of gets them introduced to you and your product line, and then gets them on a journey of buying different products too.
Well,
so Yeah.
Perfect example. How I found you, what, 6-7 years ago? I mean, it's time's flying, man. But how did I find you all those years ago? I was looking to increase my pull-ups. And so on Facebook, I asked, anybody got any suggestions on how I could increase my pull-ups? And some dude said, "Oh, Stu Smith, he helped me get ready." I asked in a bunch of different places. One of the places was on the Go Ruck forum. And some guy said, "Oh, you need to check out Stu Smith because he helped me get ready for a Go Ruck Heavy, which is a 24-hour challenge where you ruck around with 45 pounds on your back for 24 hours." And I was like, "Oh, dude." And then I started, that's how I found you. I mean, if you had not published what you'd published, and that guy had not found you and you had not helped him get ready for a Go Ruck Heavy, I never would have found you. So you can also teach little tiny tidbits of the bigger juicy steak. It's like going to Costco and they're giving out bites of burritos. There's a little lady in the hairnet with the gloves on who's putting stuff in the pill cups, and you take a little shot of burrito. You're like, "Oh, damn, I'm hungry. That's a damn good artificial ingredient filled burrito with all kinds of stuff in it. Let me buy, the 50 pack." And then it goes in the back of the freezer and you might have 2 of the burritos and then you throw them away 6 months later when you clean out the fridge. But that's perfect example. I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah. I tend to do that with articles. So right. I tell them what to do with an article, and then I sell them how to do it with a link down at the bottom for this particular program.
I think you key in though the what and the why. The why is already, in a lot of cases with your groups, you clearly identify and tie their why to the what you're teaching them, because you have diversified enough. It's not just fitness, it's tactical fitness. And then it's not just tactical fitness, it's tactical fitness with a purpose, either to get, and usually it's to qualify for or to get through some type of training. The very specific training that these people have tied to their identity. So their why, the why is pretty ingrained in a kid that wants to go to Buds, or somebody that wants to go to the FBI Academy, or go to a service academy, or become a policeman, firefighter, that kind of thing. So the why is actually baked in to what you're doing. For other people, you need to really explain that. I didn't really understand that until about 10, 12 years ago. I would get, it's like when I was doing training, I would just jump right into the training because I assumed everybody understood why something was important. So it was just dive right in. "Hey, Jim Edwards here. You know who I am. Let's just get going." That kind of a thing. And I had somebody who actually I had just met through another friend of mine. And he called me up after. He said, "That was one of the best trainings I've ever seen, but you left out one key ingredient." And my immediate reaction was, "What? Who are you to tell?" I didn't say that. But then I thought about, okay, this dude has sold millions of books, has built several different companies. Shut up and listen. And he said, the biggest thing you got to do is explain why something is important to your audience at the very beginning, so they have a context as to how this will apply to them in their lives. And as soon as I did that, my results massively multiplied. And you don't have to belabor it for hours. You can do it in a few sentences. You can do it with a quick little story. One of the things that Russell Brunson teaches about frameworks is to make sure that there's a story at the beginning whenever you're teaching something about how you learned or earned something. Who did you learn it from, or how did you figure it out? And that'll give people a context and explain why something is important without you ramming it down their throat. It's one thing for them. I had another friend of mine who was a business mentor for years, and he used to frustrate the crap out of me because he would never ask somebody for the sale he would only ever, he always wanted to do it in such a way that they had to ask him if they could buy. And the problem is that's too far to the extreme. But he would just tell story after story after story after story about customers who had gotten a certain result, or, just he was really big into stories that illustrated the point, but then he would never ask for the sale. And that was frustrating to me. But I do see I asked him one time why he never asked for the sale. He said, because people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. So if they think that it's their idea that they wanted to buy, then I can sell them more and they stick longer. And so I still felt like it was too extreme, but I also do see how if you do something right, if you've ever watched a video, if you've ever attended a webinar, if you've ever seen a presentation and you've ever thought to yourself, man, I wonder if I could hire them. I wonder if they have a book. I wonder if they have a course. I wonder if I could get my hands on their software or their method. That person is doing it right. That person is doing it real right. Because when you're sitting there wondering if they've got something to sell, then they're doing something right. Pay attention to what they're doing and how they're doing it. So there you go.
Yeah, that's really good. So, as a general rule of thumb, how much do you give away? How much do you sell? Right? If is there a general rule of thumb for that?
No, there's no. I mean, if you're doing it right, that's the thing that people are, okay, what's the difference between content and sales copy? If you're doing it right, there is no difference. Seriously, I don't write my sales copy any differently than I write my content. Still the same voice, still the same words, still the same structure. They shouldn't, just like with emails and stuff, people shouldn't be able to tell, oh, this is a sales email. Oh, this is a content email. They shouldn't be able to tell the difference. So there's no, people are always looking for the magic thing. Okay, 2 free emails and then an email to sell somebody something. No.
Right.
There's always an offer. There's always something that they should be buying from you. There's always an opportunity to pay to take things to the next level.
I tell you something that helped me out with that is the Hidden Persuasion Wizard. Telling you, that has everything you need in there for making some content that sells, but also, talks a little bit about what you're doing and why you need to do it, and then sells you on the back end.
It's like really, the hook, the story, and the offer all baked into one thing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Another thing that'll help you is the Stealth Close Wizard, because that helps you put sales onto anything. You can bolt a little salesperson onto the end of any article, any video, any impromptu, anything.
Nice.
So
cool. If I could go back to old articles and put a Stealth Close box on it.
Why not?
I'm going to try that.
I don't know if there's a law against that in Maryland, but I know there is not in Virginia. So
I'm going to play around the Stealth Close Wizard this week.
You guys are more permissive with fireworks. I'm sure you're more permissive with your sales copy on the interwebs, just not in Luxembourg or France. Apparently, it's illegal in Luxembourg or France unless you're wearing a yellow vest. Sweet.
Got it. Yeah.
I guess that was the
comments or questions from the gallery.
Bob asked a question, Jim, I'm going through copywriting secrets to find an answer, but what subject line would you recommend for selling ADA compliance services? So one of the things that I would tell you is that a subject line, the whole purpose of a subject line is to get people to open the email. That's it. Now, get people to open the email with a couple of caveats. One, kind of pre-frame them and not piss them off and make them feel manipulated. But the way you do that is by tying into their emotional hot buttons. What's the kind of stuff that is going to get them to get them to open up that's tied to something that they want or that they don't want, and typically you can use curiosity. Also depends on if they know who you are. It's one thing for me to send out to my list, knock, knock, as the subject line, knock, knock. And then the pre-head where you see what looks like, the start of the email. Hey, open up. This is amazing. I can't wait to, if you know who I am, you're like, okay, well, Jim sent me something. And so that's pretty cool. And so I've accomplished my objective. Now, if you've just bought a book from me and you don't know who I am and it's like, knock, knock, they're like, what is this fool talking about? But like all the people who just bought 7-Day ebook, I might send out an email that's like, hey, now that it's written, let's make it a bestseller. Oh, well, shit, it's not done yet, but let me see what he's got to say. So that's something that's important. Bob said if they don't, they can be sued. Well, I mean, again, you can. It just depends on the.
Oh, if they're not
ADA compliant. So, it depends on the audience. It depends on where they are in their where they are in the cycle with you, how well they know you, all that kind of stuff. But one that just popped into my head was, don't get sued over this. ... That would, that would really get my attention, and I would open it. Now, you better deliver the goods, and you don't want to overdo it. Another one I just thought of was that 5 things that can get you sued because of non-compliance. That'd be like, crap. Okay, I better open that. Another one, ask a question: is your business ADA compliant? And then,
or talk about the benefits of being ADA compliant.
Yeah, right?
have a little list of like.
Well, this is just the subject line. This is just the subject line.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Now, so again, the whole purpose is to get them to open the email. So then you might put something like 3 steps to become ADA compliant. These are the kind of things that you really want to watch and measure the open rates as well. Typically, things with a high level of curiosity or with a negative will get opened more than things that are a positive. However, you got to watch that click rate too. So, fear, basically scarcity, fear, emotion, any kind of emotion, their payoffs. That's why you really got to know who your avatar is. Really got to know what their issues are, mistakes, that kind of stuff. But again, you got to be careful so that it's one thing to be effective. It's another to come off as manipulative, because that will really torque people off.
True.
So anyway, that's what I would do. All right. Is it time for the podcast?
It is.
All right. Well, we
124, 124.
All right. We need some transition music. This is
Mr. Pickles should open us up.
Mr. Pickle. Yeah. The problem is that I got green screen today.
So Mr. Pickles is kind of messed up.
I need my blue screen. So there you go. So it'll be Sparkles.
Sparkles the unicorn. Okay, well, let's open with some exciting music. Okay, that goes on a little bit too long. Hey, everybody! Welcome to the Sales Copywriting Content Marketing Hacks Podcast, episode 124. I'm your spokes unicorn, Sparkles, along with our trusty podcast producer, Mr. Stu Smith. Welcome, Stu!
Hey, Sparkles.
What's happening?
Hey, I'm ready for this 124.
All right.
A good one.
124.
It's a good one. We're going to ask the audience some questions.
You know what I should do? I should start playing the lottery. And I'll tell you why. Now that we're up to 3 numbers, every week I should play the podcast episode number for the pick 3. What do you think?
Why not?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, that's what I'm saying. Why not?
I'll try it.
Cool. Me too. You got lottery in Maryland?
Have to go by the gas station. Yeah. Sometimes I'll play a game just to see if it pays for my gas.
Nice. Well, there you go. I don't do that.
It's fun.
I actually have gas delivered to my house. I have a 500-gallon tank that we keep filled up, and I have Edwards Gas and Oil does it. And that way I don't have to tip the guy that does the gas.
Damn.
Yeah. There you go. Anyway.
That's handy.
So what are you thinking? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, podcast 124, I'm going to ask a question to the group.
Okay.
So how many ways do you share or reuse content? So the title of this one is Save Time and Reuse Content. Jim and Stu discuss content marketing and using old content that is still relevant, or maybe it needs to be updated to make it relevant. Sharing new content on multiple channels, multiple channels.
Challenging channels?
Yeah.
Channel challenges?
Yeah, sorry. Multiple channels, and taking written content to make them audio or video or vice versa. So the big question is, how do you share or reuse content?
You want me to answer, Stu? Ooh, pick me.
Start first, and then everybody can start singing along. I want to hear how they share their content and reuse content.
Okay. So one of the big things that I do is, and I will admit over the last month, I haven't been doing it as much, but when I do my doc talk or letting the chickens out with Jim, then that immediately gets transcribed at otter.ai and then gets edited into an article within the next week or so. That's a biggie. That's like the go-to strategy.
Oh, I like that.
Another thing that I will do is go back and revisit articles that I wrote 5, 10, 15 years ago and see if they're still relevant. And if they're still relevant, then they get a little lipstick put on them and they get run again. Because if I didn't remember I wrote it, ain't nobody else going to remember I did either.
Nope.
I also
content to share too. Yeah.
I also have been doing a lot of training, and like if I want to do a Facebook Live or if I want to do a training for a new group of people, I am going back and looking at webinars and trainings that I did 15 years ago and going, dang, I was smart. I can use that again. And so it just gets updated, and instead of one thing, you just update the resources and stuff, but principles never change. So that's why you should always make sure that you hang on to everything that you do, even if you think it sucked or you think nobody cares. The other thing, and I just did this past week, and I'm getting ready to move to a new laptop. And I don't know why I'm talking like from Minnesota, because everything I'm saying sounds like a question at the end because I'm raising my voice. And I don't know why I'm doing that. But these little hard drives, these little SSD drives, this one right here is 500 gigabytes. I think they're $50 now. I just bought a 2 terabyte one for $300. It's I don't want to unplug it, but it's a 2 terabyte SSD for $300. And so I consolidated all the hard drives, Jim's old notebook C drive and old D drive and all this other stuff on one. So I have everything. I just have everything I've ever done ready to go. And why not? I did it. I know I own it. And it's not even repurposing. It's repurpose, upcycle, recycle. I guess recycling is just using again as is. Upcycling is adding stuff to it to make it even better. And Carlin said, do you see an upswing when you update old content? Well, typically I'm not, the way I'm interpreting that is you're asking like SEO or something like that. I typically just release it as new content. And I could do more of it actually if I wasn't so lazy. I draw the line at only working half day. I think if I work from 5 in the morning until 5 at night, I can be done for the day. It's only a half a day. So, you know, I don't really think about it maybe the way you're asking, but you know, the world runs on content now, and you gotta find a way to make it very just you gotta keep pouring fuel in the tank.
Yeah.
The other thing though is, and I see this a lot, is people just create content and they throw it out there and nothing really happens. And the reason it doesn't really happen is because you don't leverage the opportunity to build a relationship with people. Because everybody's drowning in a sea of content and they're thirsty for knowledge and a relationship and a sense of belonging. So I think that you should focus just as much on developing relationships and leveraging your content to develop relationships and build your tribe, as everything should be built around trying to do that rather than just seeing if you can come out with more content than everybody else. What are your thoughts, Stu?
Yeah, my go-to is to write an article. Then from there, that article can expand a couple of different ways. It can expand into an Ask Stu question. Like somebody may have asked me a question and I answered their question with an article. And then from that article, I take it and make a bigger feature article if it's a really good question and topic. And I can sell those to other websites and things like that, or put it on my own. But then I'll take that article and I'll make it a podcast. That will be a podcast topic. It will be a Facebook Live topic. It'd be YouTube Live topic, and just discuss it. You know, taking live questions alongside of it and expanding upon it, you know, in video format or audio format.
Over how long of a time period will you do that? Like over a week, over a month? How long do you beat that horse until you move on to the next one?
Well, I mean, first of all, I have done one piece of one piece of information and took it out through the whole week.
Okay.
So that meant a feature article, an Ask Stu article, a workout of the week article, a podcast, and some live, you know, YouTube live Q&As on it.
Okay.
So I would, and then of course, you know, Instagram posts, Twitter posts, you know, things like that too, that are just of that
ilk,
you know, of that topic. Then at the end of the week, I have people who pay for this newsletter that goes out, because there's a workout of the week on it, and it has all of that in one spot. So now at the end of the week, it's kind of consolidated and say, here's what I did this week. Check it out. And so it's that goes to my email lists. So,
and that's really smart. That's one of the things that we do on my Wednesday newsletter, is typically that's where we'll consolidate everything. So the chickens videos, the doc talk videos, we have from like a note from Jim, which is kind of like what you would call a blog, like a blog post. It's a kind of an opinion piece of Jim's thoughts, a couple hundred words. Then we have the featured article of the week that takes them over to the blog where there are display ads and other stuff. And then we have whatever the feature product is that we're pushing right now, which is 7-day ebook. And then there's, you know, all the stuff, all the video links to all the videos in case you missed it, kind of a thing. And so we repurpose it several different ways. Carlin says, Bob says he does his with video. Carlin says puts it on multiple Facebook page posts, uses it in comments. going for SEO traffic. Vicky says I repurposed my old blog posts on Medium and Facebook. And Bob says no 4-hour work week for Jim. The 4-hour work week was a crock.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was to sell books. So I would, I'm trying to think what are some other effective ways to repurpose content. A lot of times what I'll do is kind of like what you're doing. I use the video to kind of gauge interest. And then if people are interested, I said, okay, well, let me expand on this a little bit. Maybe this is something that's hot. And I even created I remember we created 3-hour Kindle Book Wizard out of the fact that I just casually mentioned, hey, you could use the expert interview wizard to just record this and have it transcribed and turned into a book. And people are like, oh my God, I gotta have it. And so I said, okay. So then I said, okay, well, let me create a specific version of this expert. It was the expert interview wizard. Let me create a version of that specifically for doing a book. And the 3-hour Kindle Book Wizard sold, God, at least 5 times, if not 10 times the number of expert interview wizard ones. And then I said, okay, well, let me come out with a version that for podcasting and for Facebook. And it did pretty well, but not nearly as well as the other one. So, but all of that started with just casually mentioning something in a video somewhere and people going nuts. So you gotta pay attention and then you can kind of build on it. If nobody gives a crap on the first couple times you do it, don't take the time to turn it into a webinar. On the other hand, is if every time you mention something, every time you talk about something, people are asking a ton of questions and want to know more, then you have hit some sort of a, you've hit a nerve.
Sure.
So you gotta pay attention to that. Any other ways you repurpose content, Stu? Like what would you do with an article from like 10 years ago?
Well, I've done that. In fact, probably my first 15 or 20 podcasts were articles written years ago. Because originally I was like, what am I going to talk about? Why am I going to do a podcast?
Right.
And I was like, let's just talk about old articles. So I had a buddy of mine interview me about an old article, and we just kind of talked back and forth like that. Which was a good way to start, kind of broke the ice and got me feeling a little more comfortable with the whole process. And then it became more of like, this is the article I wrote this week, and this is what I'm talking about this week, and turned it into something like that. And then now with, StreamYard being available, now I can make it a live Q&A session with people interacting, and discussing it to another level.
Right.
So I think all of those are great ways to do it, and they all build on each other. So, and then of course, social media is no brainer. Post it on social media. Then at the end of the week, you send it to your email list, just to let everybody know you're still relevant and you're still out there.
It's interesting, and this isn't really about repurposing content, but what it is just, it's not repurposing. It's just taking that idea and having I heard a lady speak 15 years ago, and she said, I think in terms of, we have a weekly or a monthly campaign and a quarterly crusade and this other stuff. And that was like the only cool thing I ever heard her say. But basically what she was saying is that we have a certain amount of time that we're focusing on this big issue. And then each month we have a certain thing that we want to do. And then it gets narrowed down to daily, what are we talking about? And I thought that was really smart. I haven't done it, but I subconsciously do it. Right now we're focusing on 7-day ebook. In another couple of months, we're really going to be focusing on content creation. That's content marketing, content creation. Probably by the end of the year, we'll be back on copywriting. It's just, we learn and then we keep things moving. but I don't think this is just a random thought. I'll give you another random thought, something that my grandson, who's very interested in learning copywriting, or at least he says he is, but he's falling down on his homework. But he's been reading Copywriting Secrets, and he came to me on July 4th, and he's real serious, little Eli, he's 11. So he's been learning about headlines, and now he's learning about writing bullets, but real serious. He pulls me aside like, Grandpa, I got an idea for you. Oh, okay. All right, cool. Everybody's got an idea in the family, but Eli's like, Grandpa, I got an idea for you. He says, you're China. Oh, wait, sorry. China. Hi, dear. You there?
All right.
I'm not busy. I'm just in the middle of my podcast. Yeah. That's okay.
That's good.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Love you. Bye.
All right. Well, after 120...
my craftsman workbench is on the way.
Okay.
That's my wife letting me know. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, after 124 podcasts, we just don't care anymore.
Sorry. So anyway, Eli pulls me aside. I apologize for that, but not really, because my craftsman workbench is important. He pulls me. It's Grandpa, I got an idea for you. I think there are a lot of people that would love for you to teach them this on video. And I said, really, why? He's, well, sometimes it's easier for someone to teach you something than to read it. And I like the way you talk, and I bet you could do this on Zoom. Oh, okay. Well, Eli, let me clue you in on something. The way I created the content for the book was to teach it as a video and then convert the video into the book. Oh, that was smart. And then he just moves on. He's playing cornhole. I was like, okay. I was like, do you want to watch the videos? No, I'm cool. But anyway, I just thought that was funny that an 11-year-old made a very important point. And that is, the way you think about it is not just, am I repurposing content, but you also think some people like to watch, some people like to listen, and some people like to read, and other people need to experience it. And something that we have been doing with another project that I'm working on, but I think what we're going to do is, Stu and I want to talk to you about this, but the gist of it is instead of doing wizard walkthroughs, we've been doing mini wizard workshops where for 30 minutes, we actually use a wizard as a group, and then everybody's getting feedback, and people are getting some amazing results. It's almost like a chat. The whole reason that people will do a challenge is because it's got a timeline, it's got a result, it's got all that stuff baked into it. Oh crap, it's going over. But what it does is I do a little teaching, do a little demo, then everybody uses the script or the wizard for 10 minutes, and then comes together and shares what they did and gets feedback. And all of a sudden it takes it out of the learning about it and turns it into the getting something done and getting a result, which is, by the way, the number one thing that you want to do with any content that you put out there. If you can help people to get a result with your content, they will love you and they will buy your stuff. So if you can bake a result into your content, holy crap, that's where you want to be. So that might be a good spot to end. Oh, by the way, sell what it does, not what it is. There you go. But that's stay in school, kids, don't do drugs. So that's like that's one of those things you just drop all this. Stay in school, don't do drugs. Sell what it is, not what it does. Or sell what it does, not what it is. Sorry.
Yeah, I messed that one up all the time.
You know what I meant.
I do.
All right.
That was good. And, in the end, you just want to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And being able to repurpose content that maybe people have not seen before, people who did not know you 10 years ago, and it still applies today.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have just one quick little mini rant. You said something that's so important. Stay relevant. You know how you stay relevant? By actually doing it. By actually still doing it every single day, being involved in it, seeing what's what. There's so many people that pull off the side of the road, figuratively, and they're like, "Okay, I did all my hard work. I'm gonna rest on my laurels." If Stu weighed 300 pounds and the only curls he did were barley curls, with the Bud Lights, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I use the aluminum cans because they're heavier, and that's how I get this bicep." Nobody would take him seriously. I mean, he's over 50 years old and he crushes 18-year-old souls with his fitness levels. That's why people still pay attention to him. The story and the actions and everything that he does is still totally, what's the word I'm looking for? Not coherent, but it's not synchronous. It's congruent. Everything's congruent. And part of being congruent is being out in the arena and still doing it, no matter what you're doing. If I wasn't writing books, if I wasn't creating books, if I wasn't promoting books, if I wasn't writing sales copy, if I wasn't running ads, if I wasn't stubbing my toes, if I wasn't doing videos, if I wasn't doing all this stuff, who would want to pay attention to what I'm doing? How would you know my wizards work? It's you got to be doing it. There's always two parts of your business if you want to be authentic and be relevant. There's what you're doing because you're actually doing it, and then there's the teaching of what you're doing. You got to have both. Can't just have one or the other. Otherwise, you just become irrelevant and you become inauthentic and you suck as a human being.
I saw a good quote. We can leave it on this one other day.
Okay.
I think it was, "The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried."
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Isn't that good? That's deep.
That's real deep, dude. That's real deep. I need that on something. My big quote that I'm running off of right now is, "Do what others aren't willing to do so you can live the life that others can't."
Good one.
Which and then just shorten down to "do what others aren't willing to do." I was repeating that over and over during the workout today.
Good.
So there you go.
Get you through it.
Never quit. All right.
Just give it 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Well, just give it 10 minutes. See what happens.
There you go. What's the worst thing that happen? You pass out in the middle of the road and somebody will run you over and squash you like a grape. But you went out with style. That would be all right. Everybody have a great day. Great job, Stu. This was fun. This was really good. Nice work. And excellent. Pete says too much wisdom today. Wisdom from Stu. There you go. Stu's a pretty wise dude. All right. Everybody have a great day, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, if you're not already a member of the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks group on Facebook, you should be. If you're like one of the 3 people left on planet Earth that don't have a copy of this book, go to copywritingsecrets.com, get a free copy. All I ask you to pay a small shipping and handling. The only reason you don't have this book at this point is because you hate money and you want your children to die in poverty. Stu, if they want to get into shape, what should they do? Where should they go?
StuSmithFitness.com. You can check it out.
Awesome. All right. And with that said, we will leave all of you with this fine music.
Yeah!